And thank you to the witnesses for being here today. Shortly after the Iran deal was concluded, President Obama, his administration, made repeated statements that Iran would be, quote, denied access to the world's largest financial and economic markets, end quote. Secretary of the Treasury Jack Lew reinforced this policy. Another Treasury official had stated that Iran would be, quote, unable to deal in the world's most important currencies. That was Adam Szubin. Earlier today, America learned through a Senate investigation that President Obama's administration issued a license to deal in U.S. currency conversion of Omani rials at a bank in Muscat, that they could convert these billions of dollars, billions of rials into billions of dollars and then euros, giving blanket access and providing key Iranian flow of funds that could be used for funding extremism and other troubling activity. Fortunately, no U.S. bank wished to comply with such an authorization. They were fearing fallout not only in the financial industry, but they were fearing violation of current U.S. sanctions law. I guess my question, as we debate this handshake agreement that was not an agreement with the American people, it was not done through a treaty, it was not done through consent of Congress when we had bipartisan, overwhelming resistance to the Iran deal. I guess my question would be this, first to Dr. Walsh. A series of basic questions to frame up activity of Iran, I think, is important here. Should we curtail proliferation of terrorism or promote it?
Well, considering, Mr. Vice Chair, that I've spent virtually all my professional career working to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and to undermine terrorism, I think my answer is pretty obvious on that one.
Well, I'm guessing then by your answer it would be to curtail it. And having been a soldier most of my life and seeing Iran kill United States soldiers, including some of my colleagues, I would be in agreement.
As did General Mattis, who was CENTCOM commander during that period, and General
Should we
Vogelmann.
encourage nuclear cooperation with North Korea and Iran, or should we curtail that?
To my knowledge, and I've testified before the Congress on this, there was missile cooperation between North Korea and Iran, but not nuclear cooperation. There are lots of media reports, but the DNI has never said it, the IAEA has never said it, Congressional Research Service has never said it, and I was unable, in a survey of 1,000 media stories, to find any evidence for it.
Should we encourage this cooperation or deny it? We do know that with North Korea...
What cooperation, I guess, is what I'm saying.
North Korea, Iran, and Syria, I think that there's overwhelming evidence that there was cooperation, not only with missile technology.
Cooperation.
Sure, we can talk offline. Should we strengthen the ability of the Iranian Republican Guard Corps to destabilize Iran's neighbors, or should we curtail that?
Absolutely curtail it.
Absolutely. Despite Section 2, which had, by the way, 52 players that I identified and put on a deck of cards. And we were able to work with President Obama's Treasury administration to restore some of these back to the sanctions list. However, listening to all of the pundits for this agreement, they stated that there was no problem giving Soleimani and many of these industries and others sanctions relief.
Well, the intelligence community has said that sanctions relief did not go in large measure to the military.
Oh, we know that they used it for peaceful purposes. My last question would be,
that wasn't my point,
should we waive international and national financial standards on monetary exchange regarding these sanctions, or should we maintain the strength of sanctions rather than creating licenses to undermine financial markets?
Here's what I think. I think of all the things you listed, only one is the most important. It's called the priority. That's denying Iran the ability to acquire a nuclear weapon.
I see. So then all of the other things notwithstanding, we should undermine the credibility in our record on human rights. We should undermine the credibility of the United States when it comes to standing up for other peoples. We should undermine our allies. And worse, we should undermine American soldiers who have
we're undermining allies now.
See things that have, if I may, reclaiming my time. One thing is crystal clear. When you make an agreement that the American people are overwhelmingly against, we're talking 60% plus, how do I know this? Just by numbers on the board through elected representatives in Congress. This was a bad deal. It made us less secure. And we hear testimony after testimony with our neighbors, our allies, and others, and yet we're led to believe that we're making the world less secure. Having the United States' credibility undermined makes the world less secure.
Which is what this decision does.
I'm sorry, I'm out of time, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time's expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Georgia.